I'm Sergio Medina. I play guitar.
I'm Carlo Marquez. I play drums.
I'm Jason Wyke. I play guitar and sing.
I'm RJ.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Bass. Plays bass.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he's kind of shy about it.
Where are you guys going?
We're on tour, and tonight we're playing Monterey, and tomorrow night we're playing Chico.
We got about 9 days left on tour, and then it's over.
Is it more?
Is it more?
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more than that. We're doing the full West Coast. We're going all the way up to Seattle, and then we're going down, back down to Sacramento, and then into Idaho, and then finish off in Salt Lake City.
The album's called Living Creatures, and we released it the 14th of March. We recorded at Puss Cavern Studios in Sacramento, California, with Josh Benton from Dance Gavin Dance, and Will Swan. Will Swan was there as well.
He's our record daddy.
He's our daddy.
So, how'd you guys start as a band?
I saw them playing in a band a long time ago called the Akashic Record, and after the show I went on MySpace and I found them, and then I messaged him asking if he wanted a jam, and he said sure, I'll let you know, and he hit me back up 3 years later on Facebook.
I had to really think about it, you know, and whether or not I wanted to jam with them.
Yeah.
No, Stolas could have actually started about 3 years ago.
No, the way I see it though is we were all cheating on our bands, and then we just fell in love.
Yeah, I was in another band, and it wasn't going so well, and so I asked him if he wanted to jam. But I asked him 3 years before, but then I saw him again at another show, and that's when I asked him in person. And then they came over to my house, and I also had been playing in a band with RJ called LSR, and that didn't go so well either. But we started playing August 17th of 2011. That was the first day we
wrote our first song. It was "Time in the Sun," right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were.
The EP actually, our EP before this album titled "Losing Wings" is in order from how we wrote the songs.
Yeah.
And how'd you guys record the album, the first album?
Oh my god.
By ourselves. We did it on his old 2001 Dell computer, with one SM58 to mic everything,
and an MXL 990, those cheap condenser
it's like
mics.
the worst mic you can get.
Yeah, but we made it work, and we did it off. We did the drums with an electric kit, and a program called Addictive Drums, and then we also mixed it with another program called Drumagog. So it kind of gave us this more realistic feeling of drums, but it was still fake in some way.
So did you program the drums?
No, we actually it was a set.
I played it on a drum kit.
Oh, like an
So
electric
it
drum
was all
kit.
real. Like the playing
okay.
was real.
Hooked it up MIDI.
Okay.
But there was a lot of editing because it was on a drum frame and it would bounce, so you would get triggers that would go off.
Yeah.
So I'd have to go in there and clean it up. It was just a lot of work, and for the like what came out of it was somewhat satisfying. But
And how'd that album do as far as like response from your fans? And stuff?
we toured on it twice, and we gained maybe like 3 or 4 people that day.
It just didn't sound that good. Like it sounded.
Yeah.
Okay.
it was good enough for what we were trying to do at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we
And it was
just
your
started.
first record.
Yeah. It was. I mean, and definitely like I always think of recordings. Bad recording is where you can't hear everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
Like,
you could
hear
still hear
all-
everything
you could hear-
clearly,
yeah.
and it was still pleasing to the ears in some way.
Yeah.
But it didn't sound bomb. It didn't sound like
Yeah.
super cool.
And Jason did it all. So
Yeah, I
that
did
was
all the
pretty good.
mixing and the mastering
That's
and
cool.
the editing.
Is that your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
In my
vocals,
apartment.
vocals were done on a couch.
Oh yeah,
on a couch?
we flipped over a couch just like this into a corner.
Yeah, and then
And I got in there and sat in there for like 6 hours and just did vocals,
Little vocal
sweating. It was horrible.
So how'd you guys end up hooking up with Will and the other guys?
Um, I met Hail the Sun through a chain of events, and then they asked me if I could fill in for them on their first national tour, like their first real tour, with Dance Gavin Dance, and they were support. but their guitarist Shane couldn't do it because he had just gotten a really cool job at Ubisoft, and he asked me if I could fill in for them, and I said sure, and so I filled in for them on a couple dates, and I also became Josh Benton's guitar tech, and then as part, I also moved up to being the rest of the. I became Will's guitar tech and Tim's bass tech too, eventually, and as part of my payment, I got to get a bunk on the bus, on their tour bus, and that's how I met. Well, I had met Will, but I didn't really talk to him until I got on the bus, and I started talking to him about music and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened, and he actually offered the record deal. It wasn't really. He didn't really offer it as a record deal. He kind of just said he would front half of it if we did it with Josh, and that was the conditions. He said if we record with Josh, he would front half of the record, and the rest we would have to do. And he kind of said that he had had a little bit of drink in him. He was kind of tipsy, so I didn't really believe him. And actually, I don't know, I didn't really believe him for a long time. But he started being more serious about it, and then it was.
Well, that was before he even had a label, a record
label,
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said he had the idea of a record label
for a while,
for
a couple years.
For 2 years.
But it didn't really exist yet.
Yeah, he said every other band he's tried to work with, kind of would break up or something like that. I had no idea how it went before, but I don't know, we're technically his first band on the official label.
It's definitely awesome. Unreal. It's an unreal feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tillian Pearson, ex-Tides of Man, he now sings for DGD. He's on it. Corey Lockwood and Kurt Travis from A Lot Like Birds are on it.
Johnny Craig.
Johnny Craig's on it, and Donovan Malero from Hail the Sun's on it.
That's awesome.
All cool parts, super cool parts.
Yeah.
All really talented dudes.
And I want to mention though that these parts are very small parts, and even if they weren't there, the song would still be applicable. It would still work. We didn't go in the studio thinking, oh, we have all these empty parts. Let's just let's throw guest singers on them and we'll be done.
Yeah.
It
was more of oh wow, we'll sing this part. Okay, a lot of it was pre-written already. So
yeah.
And you're just doing all those guest feature parts yourself, live, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Actually, before we went into the studio, the only two guest singers that we had planned were Donnie and Kurt.
Yeah.
The other three came along because I had asked Kurt and Donnie while on tour after Will had told me that he would record us with Josh, and so I was like, oh, I'll ask Donnie and Kurt if they want to feature, and they said yeah. And then while in the studio, Will was on his phone a lot, and there was one day, the first day, he asked if we wanted Johnny on it, and then the next day he asked if we wanted Tillian on it.
Yeah, he took us out to eat. It was our first meal with him. He took us out to eat, and on the way there he's like, hey, do you want Tillian Pearson to feature on it? And I was so in shock, because Tillian Pearson's one of my favorite singers, and I'm a big fan of Tides of Man. So he wasn't in the studio, but he was in Florida. But yeah.
And then Corey on one of the last days came out to hang out, and I was showing him some of the songs, and then we had a part that we were originally just gonna keep instrumental.
Yeah.
And then I showed him that, and I was like, this would actually sound kind of cool if you were on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, I'll think about it. He had to go do a photo shoot with birds, and so he left for 3 hours, and then he came back, and he already had a part written.
Yeah.
And in his head, and he came down, and he sat down, wrote it all out, and just kind of listened through it a few times, and then went in and did it.
It's my favorite part.
That's awesome.
It's my favorite guest vocal.
And was this new album? It had the songs from Losing Wings on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's 5 from Losing Wings, 4 new songs.
Are they in order?
No.
Or they're just kind of spread out
they're
throughout
rearranged.
Cool.
Actually,
Huh?
the last song on Losing Wings is actually the first song on Living Creatures.
Oh, okay.
What are some of your influences musically?
Mars Volta, I don't want to be the only one talking anymore.
Brand new. Really into
brand new is a really big influence for me and Carlo. I like a lot of Rage Against the Machine, RX Bandits. I actually like a lot of reggae. If you really wouldn't be able to tell that if you heard our music, but
Yeah.
I'm a big reggae fan.
I grew up on a lot of punk rock too. Well, mainly just
Yeah,
like
punk rock.
NoFX, Pennywise, like the mainstream punk rock bands.
Yeah.
And a lot of like girly stuff too, like Copeland and stuff like that.
And Boys to Men.
I was an NSYNC a long time
I
ago.
had an NSYNC CD.
Yeah.
I actually had a Britney Spears CD too. I'm not afraid of it.
When you're at RJ,
You're not afraid of the CD.
So to
you're not
round,
afraid to
so to
admit
round
I'm not afraid
Stolas
of
out,
both. The
NSYNC
CD.
and Britney Spears, the dominant influences.
Yeah, they're good influences, man.
RJ, what about you?
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
to
what's
hear
your
yours.
influences?
Yeah, what's your
Nobody
main
ever knows it.
what's your main
Nobody ever knows
influence
what
for
RJ's
bass?
influences.
I don't know. Just
D'Angelo.
Just straight D'Angelo.
honestly, like
Yeah.
guitarists, just the people I play with. Like when we were in a band with Brandon Jones, he's a guitarist for another local band in Vegas called a Marionette. And he is the most like technically proficient guitar player I've ever met in my life. Just like playing in a band with him, like you get a lot cleaner. Like your technique just cleans up, and so like people like him, obviously Sergio, because he's just all fucking over the place.
In a good way.
But yeah, like when I first started playing bass, like I was completely self-taught. So like I just got really into the Chili Peppers for a while, and then like kind of moved on to like started getting into like Coheed, and then I met Sergio like a few years later, and just like solicited a lot of music through him. I don't really like to just listen to like bass players so much as like find a band I like and see how they make that instrument work in that context and
Yeah,
run with it.
that's cool.
A lot of people online have been like, oh, they're in like Hail the Sun, a lot like Birds,
Yeah.
Dance Gavin Dance, like in that kind of, almost like DGD's up here, a lot like Birds is right under them, and then Hail the Sun.
Yeah.
So I kind of see us going in that direction, but it really, I just hope that people are enjoying it.
Yeah,
Just,
for
like
sure.
the more people that enjoy it, the better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just, I don't know. Hopefully people are enjoying it. That's really and sharing it and like telling their friends about it, because that's really what it's about. It's just whether or not people like it. But I think
Hopefully more touring, so that we can get our music out to people, and another album to come out fairly soon.
Yeah.
A lot more
Ultimately,
songs.
like,